Questions continue to be asked over the release yesterday from prison of convicted child sex offender Tewald Selassie. Selassie was sentenced to 25 years in prison in 2007 for serious sexual assault of a then 15-year-old girl. The children's advocate Debbie Ray Rivers of charity SCARS, speaking to Tarai Trott, issued a personal appeal to lawyers and those who may have been involved in Selassie's case.
But I appealed, in the article, I appealed to the defense lawyers because they are the advocates for convicted child sex offenders, and I'm sure that they want what's best for their client, making sure that every client of theirs who has been convicted of child molestation, I'm sure they want to make sure they have an opportunity to be treated for that sexual addiction. I mean, that should be in their best interest as their advocates. We know that a defense lawyer wants what's best for their client. We know that. And so that's why I appeal to them. And I'm sure they want what's best for every child in Bermuda as well, not only for their client, but for every child in Bermuda. If a pedophile goes to prison and comes out untreated, one has to ask himself, as a defense lawyer or anyone, would they want that person to babysit their child or their niece or their nephew after they get out of prison with no treatment? If the answer is no, well, we have a duty and a responsibility to protect everyone's child on this island. That's why I appeal to them. So while they're fighting for their clients' rights and their sentencing, perhaps also consider fighting for their clients' psychological welfare and for vulnerable children in our community. Convicted child sex offenders who go to prison and are incarcerated with no treatment cannot fix themselves. They just can't.
Ms. Ray Rivers stresses that a sexual addiction to a child is a more serious offense and requires specialist treatment and assessment. Ms. Ray Rivers also heaping praise on Attorney General Kathy Lynn Simmons for addressing the issue of treatment for inmates convicted of child sexual offenses.
When Mr. Selassie was sentenced, he was probably not required to participate in a treatment program. It was one of the things that SCARS has been advocating for years, since our inception. And I know that the Sex Offender Management Act came into place in 2018, and I want to thank, at this point, the Honorable Kathy Lynn Simmons and her team at the time in the AG chambers that implemented that Sex Offender Management Program, which says that all sex offenders must complete mandatory programs, before they can apply for probation, for a license, for supervision, and that was put into place. And I don't think Mr. Selassie fell under this, and that's a huge concern. From my research in this field with qualified professional, who I have the utmost respect for, I learned about this program that's offered in the UK called the Healthy Sex Program, HSP, and you read about it in my op-ed. I was advised that Westgate had SOTP, which is a sex offender treatment program. But as I stated in my article, and from what I've been informed, the SOTP program does not focus on those specifically interested in and on children. So that's not going to help Mr. Selassie and others. And I hope I'm correct in saying this. I truly pray that we have the most effective treatment now at Westgate, because we've been saying this for a few years. And I hope now Westgate has been able to get this program in.